All right, so look at number 4. Now, we know how to answer this without, I think we know what this thing looks like without doing the table of values. So the table of values is there to help us, but because of what we now know, what shape is this going to be? A rose with 3 petals. A rose with 3 petals. And there's not a petal at 0 because the sign of 0 is 0. So I know what it's supposed to look like. Now let's get some details here. So it lays out a table. What I need to graph is theta and r. But it's instead of just giving me theta and r, it's trying to walk me through the process. So 3 theta, 3 times 0, 3 times pi over 6, 3 times pi over 3, 3 times pi over 2, 3 times 2 pi over 3. Now we get a little bit harder here, but the 3 and 6 would reduce. 5 pi over 2, 3 pi, 7 pi over 2, 4 pi, 9 pi over 2, 5 pi. We kind of get the pattern here. 11 pi over 2, and 6 pi. All right, so now we want to do the sine of 3 theta. So the sine of that angle, the sine of 0 is 0. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. Sine of pi is 0. Sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Sine of 2 pi is 0. 5 pi over 2, that's all the way around, and then pi over 2 more. So that's at 1. I think I see the pattern here. It's all 1s and negative 1s, with zeros in between. R is equal to 8 times sine of 3 theta, but we already have 3 times sine of 3 theta. So we already have, we have sine of 3 theta already. So I just need to do 8 times this row. So 8 times 0, 8 times 1, and so on. I'm really good at multiplying by 8 when it's zeros and ones. So now I'll use the theta and the r to graph the function. So 0, 0, that's just at the origin. That doesn't really help much. Pi over 6, comma 8. So I'm going to guess that's one of the edges of the petals right there. Pi over 3, comma 0. So that means between 0 and pi over 3, we went out to 8 and came back into 0. Pi over 2, negative 8. So rotate the pi over 2 and go down 8. Can't zoom out far enough to get the whole thing on the graph. 2 pi over 3, we're back to 0. So I think this is, we found our second loop there. 5 pi over 6, comma 8. So rotate the 5 pi over 6, go out 8. And there's our third loop. Now there's more points, but if you watch what happens, 7 pi over 6, negative 8. So if I rotate to 7 pi over 6 and go negative 8, it's going to retrace this first loop. So there's sort of 6 loops, it's just that they're on top of each other. But we knew that already. I mean, we knew already that there'd be a rows with 3 loops. So it's one of those where the more you know, you can start to put things together. There's only one of these on the test where it specifically asks for the table of values. But you could use a table of values on all of them if you wanted to. It's just one of them specifically calls for it.